really funny. I remember right when the pandemic started, I was on like Tinder or something, and I met this guy from like the Lyons Township area. I forgot what town it is. And he would always say that, like we want to. No, we didn't even meet up once, and he was like, yeah, and I was like, okay. I was like, you're done. And then I ghosted him for a few days. I was like, this isn't gonna. But that's how I met Michael. I think he might do it too. I don't know. Katie loves him. And I'm gonna keep doing it. Wake you up. I'm gonna wake you up. Ryan, how am I? Swear to God, it. The walking. Ryan says yes, and because he's a man. Ask not what you can do for massage, but what massage can do for you. They were high. Okay. Chemical. No, everyone here did. If you want instrument repair stuff, not stand. Instrument what? But Elizabeth is conducting. Allison is conducting. Maddie's conducting. Oh wow. So you all can talk about what you want to do. And then you've got one more person. Okay. But I was thinking that you three could tell Nathan kind of what you want him to look for and help you with, and just basically specifically on your PC stuff. Conducting, rehearsing, movement. So if y'all want to do that now, we give you enough time so we can have an idea. Okay. And then I'll do the one. Cool. Yeah, but feel free to like hand it in really fast and so jump in and do something, and maybe start 1 minute. Okay. And then you kind of have a whole little hand up and then say something and then start it again. Well, okay. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Go chat with Nathan about what Actually, it's like destroy me. No, I think rehearsal technique would be my main focus. Yeah. If there's any like glaring conducting issues, then yeah, but. I mean, I think it's really open for anything. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess more so on the rehearsal aspect, but if you have things to say about what you could do, yeah, that's here too. Okay. Yeah.
You all have scores, right?
Yes. I actually don't. Yeah, I'm gonna be psychic that thing. I'm just gonna go on the podium and do this. You can't see your own scores with Mark. Actually, Katie, you never told me it. I totally did. It's sitting in front of you. It must be blind. Actually, it's. Is that Jason?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh yeah, it's Jason.
Hey, Katie, recital hype.
Probably. Hang on. I'm coming. Now we can hear. Hey,
Hello.
how are you?
I'm good. Recital hype. Let's go.
I'm very excited. Hope you can tune in online. Cool.
Yep.
All right.
Is this a concert or jazz?
Concert.
Nice.
Yep. Let's hope more people show up. And then...
Gotcha.
What do we do? It's just the firehouse. We go west. We do gender.
Anyway, just wanted to stop in, say hi, say you're awesome. Student teaching is hard, but worth it.
What are you saying? I can't hear you.
Student teaching is hard, but worth it.
Good. I need to hear that.
That's what you mean?
Property's open. Property's open, we need a snare. Listen.
Yes, property's still open.
Snare. And suspended cymbals, right? Is that all?
Yeah. I don't know, you can look at the parts. Hey, Hunter. Hunter, can you help me get a snare out of that property? Hello, everyone. We're gonna walk out now. Alright, let's do the best concert ever. Please, ready, next full sound. A 1, 2, ready, and breathe. Concert and breathe. Four quarter notes on that concert up. 1, 2, ready, and breathe. Again, 2, we're tonguing everything, go. And again, make sure it's concert F. Here we go. So 1, 2, and ready, and sorry, go. Again, articulation, go. One more time, and ready, and what I like our low brass friends to do is stay, and more. Stay on your concert F. And let's hold that now, ready? Everyone else go. Now I like to do that on G flat, concert G flat, keep holding. Everyone should play the same note together.
These are my sticks. That's okay. That's too high for you.
I think it's fine. One is low brass, 2 is trumpets, well, horns are low brass. 2 is trumpets, 3 is saxophone, 4 is clarinet, flute, and 5 is woodwind, and 6 is brass and 7 is all. So what I like to do is we're going to do a continuous quarter notes on E flat, we're going to pass it around one individual notes. So each one of those numbers is a measure. Yes? Does that make sense? Thumbs up if it makes sense.
One of these pieces.
Thumbs up makes sense. Here we go. Everyone's going to start out by playing everything together and then we'll get to the numbers. So here we're starting with 4 quarter notes and then we're going to do both sections. Here we go.
It's a really good. Oh, yeah, this one.
Quarter note, B flat.
It's fun. Like we should split. Like there's 4 songs, right? So the songs all play
Make sure you're trying to pass off
What's your
starting
name?
by playing together.
Anna Renan.
B flat, here we go, and breathe.
So we should both just do that instead of pushing shift. How piano works, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I can play. Okay, we're gonna need one last thing. I'd like our low brass and horn to play a B flat as well as you can. I know you see, okay, you can't. And then I'd like trumpet and saxophone to please play the third, which is going to be your concert D. And then I'd like each clarinet to be on. So let's hold that. You know your note. Does everyone know their note on their instrument? No. I can't hear me. Can you hear me? The math. You're going to be concert B flat if you are a low brass. If you're a trumpet or saxophone, you're going to be concert D. If you're a flute or a clarinet, you're going to be concert F. Here we go. A little less root, a little more thick. Try again, ready? Manipulate the chord. So if I point to your section, you're going to go down half a step. Capiche? Okay, here we go. Okay, you're up first, Nathan. And let's welcome Nathan Sawyer. Nathan, you're finishing your master's in orchestral conducting right now.
Yep.
So thank you for being here. Welcome. I do. What? Right? Oh, okay. There we go. Hi everyone. We're going to take out syzygy, which is a lot of letters. So I'm just going to read the program note so you understand what that means. So syzygy is a term used in astrology to describe interesting configurations of 3 or more celestial bodies, such as the sun, earth, and moon. I think that's all you need to know. That was one sentence, but let's just read it. That's all you can tempo. Start. Okay, let's do that again actually, because this is the main theme that we're going to carry throughout the piece. So can I hear everyone sing? Ta ta ti ta ta ti ta ta. 1, 2, ready, go. Ti ta ta ti ta ta. Ti ti ta ta ti. Can we make that forward arrow like with our finger? 1, 2, ready, go. Ti ta ta ti ta ta ti ta ta ti. Yeah, can I hear a little bit more space between the first two notes of T, ta, ta, da, da, T, ta, ta, da, da. Ready? 1, 2, ready, go. Let's try from the beginning as written with those articulations in mind. I know we're all learning notes. Thank you. So what we have here is what we call a canon, right? Does anyone know what a canon is? Sixth graders? Canon balls. What did we notice about the melody that we just played? A lot of people have it, but do you have it all at the same time? No. Who starts when we play this? Yeah, Stefan and Sophia. And then a couple bars later, we have alto sax, right? And then we have other people that are not here right now. We don't know each other very sax. Can we just all sing our parts from letter B? Cool. Great. One, loud and proud. Woodwinds. 1, 2, ready, go. Energy from the we'll sound there. You all sound really tired. Can I get more energy out of you? How about we play it this time? Play with a big energy. Ready?
So where do these musicians get their energy from?
Probably me.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Let's start at letter B. Bring on the power, right? Letter B.
Did you say start at B or start at D?
Start at B.
As in boy?
Yes.
Okay.
Elizabeth, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know you're conducting right now in 2?
Yes.
Is that okay? Is that intentional?
Yes.
Is it in 6A or 3A?
It's in 3A.
Okay. All right. Supermetric pat. It's hard conducting a piece in 1 because it's just one, and it feels very repetitive, and it's working. It's just be aware that supermetric patterns can sometimes be dangerous if a piece is written in 1. So, yeah. I think you did this gesture during it. I won't say what it was, but I don't think you got it at all from the band. So, do you want to rehearse where you, like, a little bit before you just stop and think you want. I'm not gonna say what I think you wanted, so that you can tell them or show them. I think you should conduct that again, and maybe be a little bit more persistent.
Okay. Yeah. Let's start then. Can we start at D as in dog? I like dogs. Dogs are cool. All right. Let's start at D. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. We're gonna regroup here and we're gonna start at H. Can I hear everyone's email at H? If you, yeah, just everyone. I hear it at a forte. While still having good tone, right? We're not getting weaker, but we're just using less. I don't like the way my phrase is going. Just quiet, right? So we'll start at H at that volume, right?
How do you get a group of musicians to crescendo?
I mean, my gesture has to do it, but it's not really.
Well, no, I think you are showing it. What instruments do you think should lead the crescendo to encourage the others to crescendo?
Probably the low brass.
Are they the one who's holding them?
Yeah.
All right, so I think.
Or maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, so usually if a line is moving, like they're synergizing
Yeah.
the musicians. So if you focus your power on those musicians and get them to play louder, it will probably encourage the low brass who are just holding the note and getting bored. Like, oh, playing loud. So focus your attention on the moving notes.
Okay. All right. Then if you are, gosh, we're missing so many people. If you play flute or sax at I, can you play flute? Yeah, I need a bigger crescendo than you are, right? Alright. Proceed. So I get.
Can I have more energy from you?
Yeah.
This entire piece, because it feels like you're being very clear, and like the beat is good. You know the music. I just think that in order for middle schoolers to fall in love with music, you have to like show them that you are super all about this music.
Yeah.
Because if you're half there, they're not going to be there at all.
Gotcha.
So,
okay. Yeah. All right. So let's start then at N. And what do we see at letter O, right on the downbeat, that can tell us how we're supposed to be playing? What does this shape mean? Accents? That's just a word.
Greater than.
Not greater than. No. What does that mean, right? What are we thinking? Yeah, hard. Struck. Yeah, so it should be a big hit, right? I should hear like stomping, okay? But everyone stomping. Can we sing that melody? 2, 3, go. Yeah. Alright, can we play? Let's play an O instead.
I was not convinced with that at all.
Shit. Okay.
Mommy, you mentioned curse. You can't say the ship word.
All right, everyone. So we're gonna sing from O. Okay, ready? And. All right, now, even more. Just scream. Okay, ready? And. Don't play that way. Oh, ready? And no communication in middle school.
Yeah. Do I have to do that myself now?
We have like 5 minutes.
I have 5 minutes. Okay, there was another section that I wanted to get into. Actually, we'll go from there, and we will start actually at N. Start at N and to the end, okay? So the end is supposed to be a big finish, right? So what were we just doing? Like we were screaming, that's how it should be at the end. So N, 2. Yeah. Can we hear that last note? Longer. Like, hold it out, please. Anyone who has a concert C, so flutes. Yeah, anyone who has a concert C. And anyone who has the concert G. What do you have, Ryan?
C?
You have a C? Oh, you played the C. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, can we hear both of those together? Can we pop it? So, done. Ready, again. Yeah, I like that one. Yeah. Alright, so let's start at Q, and Q, what dynamic do we start at?
Piano.
Piano. So we're gonna start really small, and then I need to hear that
You almost need to be, you have to be the teacher. You also have to be their entertainer because you have to maintain their attention because they're like thinking about puberty and they're like, I don't even know what's going on. And so you need to be like, you need to have this crowd policy right when you get on the podium. That like, I'm in charge, and like, I'm going to lead us through this, and like, it's going to be great. And you're going to not to I think, like these last 4 bars, they seem a little bit passive. Like you grow energy here, and I like this for. But then you sort of lose it the last 4 bars. And so, if you can find some way to keep that energy in your conducting, like maybe just forget about it and just think about maintaining that energy in your gesture. Alright? So I want to do somewhere something else.
Yeah. Alright, let's start with you again. Q. Q as in quiz. Q as in quantum physics.
I don't like that.
Q. I did this. Yeah.
I think that's
Ground ball broke. What? Ground ball. I feel like I can pick an instrument myself. Sorry. We just played balance, so we didn't want to.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I mean, it's one.
Is it over there? Yeah. You want to do this one too? We can do 2 parts at once. We're doing And It Begins?
Yeah.
Oh.
Alright. Get out and it begins by Haley Woodruff. Does anybody think of the meme from The Lord of the Rings? So it begins. Whatever that king's name is. I just got this score from Nathan Watterson earlier today, but thankfully this is actually my second time conducting this piece. I think it's worth sharing. The composer writes, I'll never forget being 11 years old and having the trumpet assigned to me for my beginning band class. Like many others, this seemingly simple decision had major implications on how I spent my teenage years, and it still has a major impact on me today as an adult. I named my composition And It Begins to celebrate the early stages in the journey of becoming a forever band kid. The piece features a snare solo and a low-wind feature vocal in harmony music. Just remember, kids, as soon as you pick an instrument, that is your life from then on. I bet you feel particularly the soonest.
Oh, here.
Okay. All right. Starts with, let's see here. Looks like it starts with a roll in the percussion.
On the wind chimes, you mean? We don't have wind chimes,
Looks
sorry.
like the roll is on the timpani and snare. Looks like the
Okay,
timpani's covered
that's you
up.
then.
Let's not worry about timpani right now. Okay, so we'll just go for it. Okay, what happened?
Sorry, I know where you were like conducting or where it like stopped. And just my pure inability.
Okay, so I was just So there's a snare roll, and then I was gonna go 4 and 1, 2.
Your one looks like it's beat two.
Okay, sorry. Okay. No, how about I'll just conduct 4 for the snare roll. How about that? I think that'd be a little simpler. The snare roll is in the first measure, and then everyone has pickups to 2.
Okay.
All right. Sorry, I should be a little simpler here. I forgot the first beat. So there is going to be I should really give a better pickup there. There is a significant. Yes, sir?
First measure. So let's try this section again, and then I'll walk you through how to get out of that fermata. But on the first measure, if you don't want anyone to play till beat 4, you need to like show 3 dead beats or 2 dead beats and then come 1 on 3. So if it's just the timpani, you go maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. Right? So beat 1 and 2 need to be super like urging them not to play because some person will play on one of those beats.
Okay.
And then in the fermata, when you get to the fermata you're holding, think of the new tempo you want, and then go up on 4, and then go for it, or give 3 to 4.
Like 2.
Yeah. So actually, just like don't even move. And think about the tempo, and if you give them 3 chords, they'll.
Okay.
If it's just 1 beat,
Yeah.
they might not get it. So try to 3, 4.
Okay.
So start again.
To the top.
Yeah, let me.
Sorry, I screwed that
No,
up.
that's okay. Let me show you this conduction. There we go. Ready? And. That was good. You got the new tempo. Now you should add in the forte piano and crescendo. Now that you have that idea of how to start the new tempo, try doing a forte piano and then crescendo.
Okay.
Maybe rehearse that because forte pianos are hard for middle school.
Yeah. Let's go to how about pickups to measure 8? So pickups 2 before 10. Is that okay? All right. Pickups to 2. Pickups to 8. I think my breath just goes too small. Okay. Okay, I don't know how to say this, but you're not going my tempo. Is there a better way to say that?
also conducting her tempo.
Yeah, so your idea was a little bit out of the tempo of what so it was a little bit different. So I think stay with the tempo you're showing because it is a little slower than what you did, but I think it'll be good for them because
Okay.
it is secondary.
Okay.
Especially in the first read through,
Yeah,
you want
yeah.
to take the tempo a lot slower for middle school. And then you can work it up later in the semester. Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Pick up to 8 again. I should stop saying all right.
Can I say something, Nathan?
Yes.
I really like your eye contact. Like, I think that's so important for all conductors. Like, if you want your middle school orchestra to be engaged, you need your eyes on them more than in the score. And so I really love that you're looking at everyone. I think that's really great. I think that this piece, I think your ixai can be a little bit more, I guess, vertical, because it feels a little bit too, I don't know what the word is, so it's like bump. It feels like a march, so just like super clear ixai. Yeah, I think that'll work. And make sure that when you give them like the cues to come in, make sure like you yourself are also breathing. Because I don't think you might be breathing, but you're not really showing. So you can like, because you're in clear mask, that will do it. Over exaggerate, the first breath so that they come in.
Would you guys?
Also, one more thing, sorry. Try to say every single instruction in 7 words or less. So think about what you want to say, and then say it in 7 words. It can be sentence practice, but I think it would be good for you to try that.
Back to 8 or to 14? I would need to let's keep going. 14.
That was 2 words. So a good think you knew that you wanted to stop at that point, no matter what. Like, you didn't stop because something necessarily went wrong. You were like, you wanted to stop there. Before you stop, like, as you're conducting up into that point, you should think about, what do I want to do next? And then when you stop, you'll have at least some idea of what you're going to say.
So I don't say all right though.
Yeah, because if you spend like more than 3 seconds in silence, the ranks are just gonna, like, there's a clue, you know, they're just gonna start talking and throwing things like, oh, teacher's not doing anything, we can just, it's a heyday. So you have to make sure that you know what you want when you stop, and you instantly, like, are clear and articulate what you are going to do next. So really on the feet.
Everyone who has continuous quarter notes play at 22. Well, I'm pleased with that. I think everyone is matching pretty well with length.
Is there a part in the score that says metal stand with wooden stick?
We're supposed to have wood blocks.
Oh, okay.
Are those
Wood blocks?
accessible at the moment?
There's none back here, so I've been playing on the stand.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you were like purposely misbehaving.
No, I'm improvising.
Keep going.
It's legitimate, like, close-ish sound. Don't make fun of me. I'm not gonna
All right.
keep
I need to stop saying all right. People who play melody at 22.
So I would ask first at 22 who has the melody, because if you say people who have the melody to middle schoolers, probably no one's gonna come in. Or the guy on the tube or the girl on the tuba will come in because they just always love to play.
I got a little hung up on two minimized words.
Right, yeah. Okay, that's like a general rule. You don't have to stick to that.
All right.
Liturgically.
If you think you have the melody at 22, will you play for me at 22? All right. I need to really stop saying that.
So what do you want from them? Is everything exactly how you want it, or like when you're rehearsing, you have the music in your head, and then you have the music that you hear, and your job is to try to get the music that you hear from the musicians as close to the music in your head as possible. So think about what they're doing that you don't want them to do, and focus on that.
If you just had the melody, if you just played, those who have the melody, I'm sorry. I would like to hear crisper articulation at 22. So if you have the melody, can we play again and just really kind of focus in on just having nice kind of crisp attack on the notes.
How are they going to do crisp attacks on the notes? Because I think probably middle schoolers will need you to like explain like maybe more air or like what you specifically want them to do.
struggling for words tonight.
Father's Estate.
So, if you play at 22, with the melody, just, go at it with a nice, I'd say, ta articulation. Ta or toe, perhaps. Just a nice round with a good, attack on the beginning. Alright, at 22. I didn't necessarily ask the percussion to play, but did you all find that helpful?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I know we're almost out of time, but can we just move a little bit ahead? Since we haven't gotten to the lyrical section yet, let's take a crack at that at 30, or pick up the lyrics. I just went from 30.
Oh, here, yeah. So this is Lisa, John, part. This is like the perfect conducting excerpt for learning how to do dead beats and alive beats, because you don't want people to play the rests, because it's, unless, I mean, the standard is just going to be the same one. So, if you could, if everyone could play, is this like the right people? Yeah, if everyone can play right on 41.
Or pickups to 41.
Which is fair. Okay, right on 41, everyone. 1, 2, 3, 4. But anyway, you get the idea. So just come alive on when they should play, and be super dead when they don't, so no one comes in at the wrong
Can I
time.
have everyone but percussion at 41?
We're about out of time, so once you finish it.
Well, I'm on 30. 30. Yeah, good. Okay, so you need to come alive before they play. So on 3, you need to excite them, and then stop. Okay. So just try one more time quickly, and then we'll move on.
Alright, thank you. Thank you all. Oh yeah, let me get my phone.
Is it yours?
Four.
Hi everybody, I'm Allison, if you don't know me already. So, Riders of Mountain, it's a fun piece actually, written in like 2019, and actually the composer was born in 1998. So, maybe. So that's just really cool. Let's do a run through or get as far as we can. Do your best, solos play out. I don't think we have much time, so we'll just start. Okay? Right at the beginning. I'm gonna go in two at the beginning, okay? Low breath, ready? Okay, ready? I'm gonna go in two.
Oh,
And then French horn. Is that okay, everybody?
Yes, please.
In two, and then French horn comes in with the first solo. Yes, Nathan?
Sorry, Miss White. What does it mean to do it in two?
Oh, so we're in four, but so my one is gonna be two different or two beats. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So at the beginning again. Soloist be aware.
Good. So I think I guess you're yeah, you are. You're coming up a lot. Is that something?
We're just basically don't mention that. I didn't know.
Gotcha, gotcha. Just make sure that at least for now, like there's times you can do it, but for now, like your palm facing up. Whenever you go from 2 to 4, you have to show that before you actually go in 2 or 4. So if you're in 2, you're going for 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, 4, 1, 2, 3. Because if you just go 1 and 2 and then just start going 4, someone's gonna mess up. So you have to sort of prep that. And then we're 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So they can sort of get the feel that I'm about to go on 2. So I want to try maybe a section where it goes between 2 and 4 and try to dance.
Can we take at 20, or go at 25? 25.
so if I were to look up on my music, I wouldn't really know which beat we're on. So if you can try having your fours come higher, and then your twos and threes more up to the side. Yeah, so like 1, oh, there was 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, something like that. So that, I mean, because the side angle is like the hardest one to see from a band, and so you really want to make sure those are distinct for these plates. So.
Super 441 again.
So just an FYI, if this was a big redo, even if you were going to do 2 in concert, I probably would conduct the entire thing for first day for this one. And probably for a good long while, just because it's hard for middle schoolers to go between different conducting patterns. So I probably just do it in 4 for the first like several weeks, and then introduce them. I'm going to do this in 2, like in this section, and start incorporating there. I think with your left hand, this is like a great section to practice like showing dynamic and not handling crescendo and diminuendo. So this is Professor Schleicher would call the Tai Chi move if you want more, and if you want less, bring it down. And so practice, keeping the beat steady with this hand and showing dynamics. You can try that. Yeah, how about you just say it 4, just so that you don't get this confused when you're changing. And just focus left hand dynamics. This just do 4 pattern. Okay?
Then can we go back to 41, please?
more of these 4 bars, you really have to like really bring the energy. And so like if you're going to be conducting the same energy in your 4 pattern the entire time, and they're just going to stay at that same dynamic. So if you want more, you have to like urge them to give you more, or rehearse it if you don't want to show it so much in your conducting gesture. But yeah, how about you rehearse this section?
If you have, in measure 65, if you have 8 notes on beat 1, I want you to play right now, okay? So play with me. I just want you to do the first 2 8 notes is a nice pianissimo, okay?
What are you?
Measure 65, raise your hand if you have 8 notes in measure 65. You should be playing now, okay? So, let's play this. Sorry, I started over, so I just did it. If you have 8 notes, we're just going to play the first 2 8 notes, okay? As pianissimo. Make it a little bit smaller, even. Okay, and then the next one, just a little bit louder. So our next 2 8 notes. The next 2 a little bit louder. Next one. And then you guys can get the idea. Each one should be getting just a little bit louder until we get to that forte. So can we start there? And then everybody else, think about how you can do that with your long notes. Okay, so just 8 notes at 65, going all the way through. Good. Now let's get everybody in. The same thing. Each note that you have should be getting just a little bit louder than the one before. Okay? So everybody at 65. Everybody at 65.
Here's a quick mirroring thing. So for the first 2 measures, just keep your left hand close to you. And then the last 2 measures, when you make your left hand active, it'll actually mean something to the musicians, like you are getting louder. So hand on your side, first 2 measures, and then bring it in, and then it'll actually mean like get louder now.
At 65.
Each of those have a crescendo and then like is it what, subito piano?
Yeah, it goes down to piano or mezzo piano, and then you grow.
Yeah, how about you rehearse that section?
Yeah, like 5 minutes.
Okay. So if you don't have the melody and you have 8 notes at measure 80, I want you to play. Raise your hand if you have 8 notes at measure 80. Okay, you will be playing. So same thing we did before. Each note a little bit louder than the first, or than the one before. So let's just start at 80, a little bit slower, okay? I'll give you 4, so you have 3. 1, 2,
Let's go from the same place, wherever that was. Same place. 1, 2, 3, and. Softness. If you want to practice on a pastille, yeah, that's the idea. Super just fast and then get bigger and then back and bigger.
Miss Allison?
Yes.
Do you want the low brass symphony hits to follow the other 8-note trumpet hits? dynamic wise?
Okay, question, 8th grader.
No, the symphony has the same parts. You guys just stay at 4th all the time.
Okay.
That's, yeah, do exactly what it says in the part. Yeah. So just the 8th notes at 80, like we were doing before. 8th notes on 1 and then the end of 2. Raise your hand. Okay, you will be playing now. Everybody else, I would like you to be counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay?
Yeah, but one minute.
Okay, so the last thing we do then. At 80. 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 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 and 3 and 4.
So obviously in middle school, they probably would not be able to play that perfectly right off the bat. So usually if you want a certain group of people doing the motor, like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, you want them to start before the people who are playing to go. So you should like start the motor, like, you know, all the people do 1 and 2, and you tell them to keep going, and then you bring in the musicians. So you don't want to start all at the same time. You want to build it up from the foundation and what you're going to be putting on that foundation. And it might be good to have them like, whoever the school does, like sing or clap or speak or Gordon or Kodai or whatever rhythmic symbols they're doing. It might be smart to have them say it first before they play.
Into the blue. Is there a Timpani car French at school?
It's over there already.
Oh.
It's a pretty easy part if you want to play.
What are the other
Is there any
Is there only 2 cards?
You put all these synergy players, so those are the what's the other images? It's gonna be things that right.
Maddie. Hi, Maddie. Hi. Hi. Hi, Kevin. I know. So I just want to read a little blurb that Keith Shimura wrote about this piece in the Blue. It says, Into Blue is an uplifting, exciting, short piece for concert fans that was inspired by the experience of flying above the clouds and into the clear, cloudless blue sky. Repeated ostinatos represent a constant energy and forward motion, while memorable melodic fragments depict the feeling of soaring through the sky toward a new destination. Or, because you all are hypothetically middle schoolers, let's go over what an ostinato is. So, raise your hand in anywhere from between the beginning of the piece to A. You just have constant A counts. And so, you guys have the ostinato. So yeah, an ostinato is basically just a repeated figure that keeps going on and on and on, repeats many times. So that's what you all have, and that comes back a few times throughout the piece. So yeah, you guys keep that energy going. You want to keep that tempo up, keep it going forward. So yeah, let's just run the thing, see how it goes. Might stop, might not. All right. Ready for question? Just push off, man. Get it, guys. Ready? Just to get it back together, I'll take the tempo a little bit slower on this. You're welcome. Let's start at B. I'll take it a little slower.
The saxophones were a little bit ahead of everyone else, and not everyone was super together.
Yeah, no.
No, so if you want to go slower, then show more space, because space and time, Albert Einstein. If you want more time, you have to show more space with the time. So you're giving like very small upbeats, which insinuates we're going to go fast.
Okay.
Just give them some more space, and they can't rush you if you are taking a lot of time.
Okay. All right. So yeah, same place. Let's keep it going back with you.
agree with the rhythm that the snare drum was playing.
Gonna be honest, did not quite exactly zone in on that, so.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the times when we're up in front of a band, the percussion is like the people that we just zone out because
Yeah.
we're just banging stuff and we kind of just like, I'm listening to the music.
Yeah, I'll be
and
honest,
so,
yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah, make sure that you're listening to every single number of the band. And make sure that you look at every single number of the band, make sure that they're engaged and stuff. So, yeah. Or also, you feel like it was more heavy, so you can rehearse some of that as well.
Okay.
Heavy metal.
Alright, so this piece is supposed to be, so wait, how would you all describe this piece? Like, what are some adjectives that you all would use? Yes.
Lightly with buoyancy.
Yes.
It says lightly with buoyancy.
Yes. So I'm buoyant. We want to keep the articulation more light, almost like sort of like a staccato articulation. Can we all say this rhythm? Da 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 da. Keep it light, lifting it up. Da 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 da. And da da da. Okay, now can we all play that on just a concert app?
If you want kids to repeat back what you say, really simple, is just da 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 da. Super easy.
Okay, yeah.
That would be super perfect.
Alright, so let's say what we said again. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da da da. Alright, now let's play that on concert app, everybody. Better. Can we have just a little bit more lift off of that final note? Much better, much better. So now let's take it at C, play it as written, keeping that in mind. Yes.
I can guarantee at least like 30% of them are going to go tup, 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 because not all of them have understood tongue yet. So maybe if you could, can some of you just like pretend you're middle schoolers and not tongue at all and try that rhythm again and have her rehearse that with you?
Alright. This should be fun.
Yes.
Excellent middle school privilege. So yeah, it just very heavy with our tip of the tongue to the tip of
The top of the tip of the tongue, just the top of the tip of the
yes.
teeth.
Tip of your tongue, top of the teeth, top of the reed. So yeah, tip of the tongue, keep it at, using the tip of the tongue will keep everything nice and light. Let's try it again. That's more what I want. So yeah, let's take it at C as written with the notes. So raise your hand if you have 8 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4 up. Elizabeth, Kira, same thing there. You guys are keeping that energy going, using the tip of the tongue to the tip of your reed to keep that forward momentum going. And for those of you that have full notes, come down in dynamics slightly so we can have that run. Alright, let's go C to the end again. Okay.
Can you conduct that overall your beats should be bigger because I mean, small is good, but right now I think it's so small that some people might have trouble distinguishing the beats.
Okay.
And maybe that will help your snare drum
Please.
players.
Yes,
Please.
I will. Yes. Yeah, I think for me, like using, like adjusting the size of a pattern is something that I like to do a lot to show dynamics.
Yeah,
So,
well, I think like, you know, if you do this is still piano, but it's still a big beat pattern.
okay,
But like, I'm showing piano
okay,
with this. So like, yes, this can mean piano, but this can also mean like forte.
Yeah.
So just for the sake of the snare drum, you can keep it smaller, but just make it a little bit bigger.
okay. All right, C to the end one more time.
The snare drum with you? Not really? Okay, so try something different with your conducting gesture. So on your 3, you're like flicking up rather than like giving a clear pick dive, and I think he's having trouble predicting when you're going to flick your wrist. So make sure your beats are 1, 2, 3, 4, down, 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 down. Yeah, try that. Try that.
Okay.
Sometimes you get to beat 3 like very like a hair quickly, and I think that it's just like sometimes you get to 3 a little bit quickly, and then you like make up the time by getting to 4 a little bit slower, and so it's just a little inconsistent. So really try, like really have that metronome in your head, and just really steady beats. To practice that like on your own time, just get a metronome and watch yourself in the mirror. Or record yourself and then watch it back. Actually, this is really revealing. This makes me hate myself every time I do it. But if you're conducting and rehearsing an orchestra or a band or whatever, record yourself and then mute the video and watch yourself to see if you are portraying the music how you think you are. And try to sing along with your conducting. You're like, I was not clear at all. But yeah, that would be good. Try it again.
Alright. C to the end one more time.
I think you're trying to follow him.
Yeah.
You need to lead. Because if you try to follow him, if he's trying to follow you, that's not a good chemistry. And I just did that in Appalachian Spring in the 3-2 section, and it just
God.
So you have to like I'm the boss.
Yes.
Follow me, and if you assert your tempo, he will follow you. So do not follow him. He's gonna mess you up.
Okay.
He's a 6th grade. He doesn't know anything. else you want to rehearse?
Maybe not necessarily apprehended, but oh wait. Actually, I like. So, just so you can get it all in your ear sense, but we haven't gone to the end of the hot section, so. Alright, we're gonna start at B, we're gonna go to the end, and I'm gonna ask you all a question. Yes.
Does someone have a metronome?
I have.
Yeah.
Can you like blast the tempo that you want and try and conduct it to that passage? Alright, yeah, and then keep it going, and then have them play from wherever, with the same song.
Alright, back to B.
So don't worry, this isn't just your fault. There were a couple times when you were crescendoing and you got faster.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, make sure you know what tempo you want. And also, I mean, you were following them more than your tempo, which partly is, you know, they are just learning this piece. And so maybe it's a little too fast right now.
Okay, yeah, I can take that much.
But make sure that if a band is going to drag, which middle schoolers are, you cannot let them. And if you did sing it, you're just going to keep on getting slow.
Alright.
So more assertiveness and
Alright.
presence on recording.
Okay, so back to what I was originally saying. Beginning, the first half of B versus like the first half of C. What's different about those two? Not necessarily notes, I'm looking for more something stylistically dynamically. Yes, Stephanie. Yes?
At B, it ends up like going quieter, and at C, it grows and then gets quieter.
Yes, exactly. So C, I'd say, is more of a climactic moment of the piece. It's the biggest moment. So I know we have similar material at B and at C. So C has got to be much more different and bigger. So one way to build up with that is that crescendo going into C. I'm thinking very much like the low brass during Star Wars rehearsal in Philharmonia. Just very, yes. Very intense, very in your face. I mean, this is not necessarily in your face, but it's that same sort of energy, but just draw back. All right, I went off on the there, but so yeah. So maybe going into B overall. I know it says mezzo forte, but maybe.
No, maybe.
No, maybe.
You know what you want. You know what you want, and what you say is
Have
wrong.
B be more of a mezzo piano dynamic, so there can be a larger contrast when we get to C.
We are out of time.
All right, let's run B to the first half of C, keeping that in mind. Okay. You might be asking some questions. I guess maybe to start with, you tell us about how you got to Illinois, like about your undergrad experience, like how you got interested, all that. Yeah, if you want to. You have a share. If not, we can move on. Start thinking of questions you have for me, especially since he's part of the orchestra now. If there's anything you're curious about, go for it. But yeah, you can tell us like, what your instrument, what you taught your instrument,
My primary instrument is violin. I did my undergrad in music education, K through 12, and now I'm here for orchestral production in my master's. Undergrad experience. I think how many music education do you have? Are we all music education? I did Robert Weston in New York, Rochester area. Music education is a really great major. So kudos to all of you. How many of us have done student teaching or have learned about student teaching?
About to be
Yeah. All right. So I feel like music education, the first
Percussion 1 goes before percussion 2, right?
is like learning as much as you can. Like what you can from books and from your methods classes, and then when you get to student teaching, you're like, I don't know anything because there's just some stuff that experience you can't learn from the book. And so I think like the best thing to do when you're going into teaching is that you need to be super prepared, and that means like score study is super important. What's really good to do, if you don't do this already, when you're learning a piece of music to teach a class, think about where are they going to have problems, and go through every single part in the score and star, post-it note, highlight. Like the flutes are going to have problems with this rhythm right here, so that you're not like taking time in rehearsal trying to think what should I work on, because you've already figured out everything you should work on in your score study. You should also know how you want every part to sound, and a good way is to just, speak to the parts yourself, or play it on your instrument if you know how to play that. Because you can't help an orchestra get better if you don't even know what better sounds like. And if you're going off of a recording, that's harder because it's not you. It's someone else's imagination of that music. And so you're not going to be able to encourage your students to play the way you want them if you're going off of what someone else wants. And so recordings are just not the best thing. It's good to like get the music in your ear and get different perspectives and ideas, but you should definitely get to a point in your score study where you're like, I know exactly how I want this piece to sound. I think Seth probably has questions.
Yeah, sorry, are you, I didn't want to cut you off.
No.
Okay. If there are like 3 things that you wish you knew when you started teaching, and then 3 things that you're really glad that you did. Or like 3 things that you would redo.
Okay, gotcha. I mean, you're going to feel unprepared no matter what. I feel like there's no way to prepare yourself to a point where you feel first day or first week of student teaching, like, I got this. And I think something I wish I knew is that there is going to be that 1 week where you fall flat on your face and you feel like a complete failure. And that is okay. And don't think you are, because everyone goes through that at some point in student teaching. That's just part of learning and growing. Because that's what student teaching is supposed to do. You're supposed to make as many mistakes as you can. Your host teacher is supposed to help you. And it's our job to try to make as less mistakes as possible. Something I wish I did more was really think about how each day went. Like when you come home, it's hard because you're on top of this, you are doing applied lessons and ensembles, and life is busy. And I'm sure you all have social lives and stuff like that. But after every single time you get to teach in your class, you should come home. And if the school allows it, some schools won't allow it because you do need, like, I don't know what Illinois does, but for me in New York, we had to do this thing called FTBA, and we had to, like, yeah, oh, you got, it's the worst. Get your students, really be on top of that, because that's a huge stressor. You're probably not going to be able to record video. If you can record audio, then you should do that every time you get up to teach. And then come home and listen to yourself and listen to how the band sounds. Because a lot of times when we're in front of an orchestra and we're looking at them, like we're focusing on our eyes, and sometimes our ears turn off to certain instruments and certain things. And so when we come home and listen, it's like, oh, that was really out of tune. Why didn't I notice that when I was rehearsing? And then mark it in the score so you know what to work on next time. So I wish I spent more time outside of school reflecting on my rehearsal and stuff. Make sure ask your teacher, host teacher, as many questions as you can, because they're like a source of knowledge and they're actually there watching you teach. And so have a lot of incentive, be super eager to learn from them. Even if you don't really like the person, like you're just gonna have to suck it up because they are there and they have the experience and they have the job and you don't. And so any bit of information is worthwhile to listen to them. And also bring your instrument with you. That's super helpful. And if the kids like see that you're really good at your instrument, and you can like play them something, they'll think you're the coolest person ever. It's like, oh my god, this person rocks at their instrument. And it's also easier to sometimes to just play what you want from them than to just say it. Because we could just start saying like 15 words and go down rabbit holes, and they're not going to know what we want anyway. So it might just be easier just to play what you want, so that they can hear it and stuff.
Do you have any advice for score studying when you're on a time crunch? I know, like in this instance,
Yeah.
or yesterday morning, and having to do this now, I was sort of like, where do I start?
Right, there's 5 steps. I don't suggest this, but if you're on a time crunch, this is how you learn the score super quickly. First off, you go through the score and you draw dashes on the top of the measure lines of where a phrase ends and stops. Because music, I really think that the reason why we go to college for music is to learn how to make a phrase. That's why we're all here at college, is to learn how to make a phrase. And then learn how to teach others how to make a phrase. So in your score, you want to mark at the top of the score just a little dash on a measure where each phrase starts and ends. Because that's going to give you info on dynamics, it's going to give you info on how the music should sound, it's going to give you info how you start and stop rehearsals. You don't want to like say to musicians, let's start at measure 20, but that's in the middle of the phrase. Because that's not going to teach them a lot. If they're starting in the middle of the phrase, it's not going to help. So first, read through the music, mark at the top all those phrase lines. Second, read through, and this is the longest step. It'll probably take approximately 3 times as long as the actual piece is. You have to draw the lines down across the entire score, so that when you're reading across the score, you can see where the phrases are. I usually use erasable colored pencils. I use blue. You can just use thick graphite pencils or whatever. But that is important because the second time you're going through the music, you're asking yourself, do I like this phrase? Is it too long? Is it too short? If you have a phrase that's 9 measures or longer, you should probably break it up into different phrases. If you start into 9 measures, it's probably not good. And then the second time through, you probably want to focus on who do I really need to cue, because they're often La La Land and they don't want to count to whatever insane digits that there are. And so important cues, dynamics are important because at this age, dynamics are going to make a concert for parents. Like if there's dynamic contrast, that's a cool middle school concert. If everything's the same dynamic, the music is going to sound really bland. And then, so dynamics, cues, phrases, and then I would go through and I would at least try as quickly as I can to mark any trouble spots that I think that there are or what I want to focus on. So that's how I would suggest quickly studying through a score. If you really, the way that I really suggest studying through a score is on your instrument or on the piano or using your voice, sing through every single part of the music because you need to know the music more than your students. And they will, like, this is something I wish I knew when I was starting to student teach. Students, especially high schoolers, will know instantly if you are knowledgeable in what you're doing. And if you don't come out as you know what you're doing, like the first couple weeks, they're going to shut down and they're not going to have a lot of respect for you. And it's an uphill climb. It doesn't mean you can't get respect back, but it is an uphill climb trying to prove to them, I'm a competent person and I know how to teach you. So when you get to the podium, you have to have good presence. I've heard a lot of conductors say that they can tell a lot about a person on how they just walk onto the podium. If you kind of just mosey on, don't really take control of the classroom, the kids are going to instantly know, I can take advantage of this person. So you need to have good presence, good stage presence, have a lot of confidence, and make sure you know what you're doing to the best of your ability. If you mess up, students will understand, but if you are incompetent, that's what's going to turn them off. There's a difference between just making a screw up, because everyone does that, versus not knowing what the heck you're doing. So make sure you know what the heck you're doing.
I get a question with an audience answer, but what is your biggest musical passion?
Oh, I'm definitely conducting, by far, and that's why I went into graduate school for that.
So when you were in undergrad and you didn't always have opportunities to conduct, how did you deal with not being able to do what you truly love most?
Yeah, so you have to really be an advocate for yourself in undergrad. So usually students didn't start conducting, like basic conducting 101 until second year. I came in, I talked to the conducting professor first year, and I said, can I take private conducting lessons with you? And they said yes. So you just have to like I know I'm not supposed to take this until next year. Can we work something out where I can make time in your schedule? And professors love students who want to learn more. If you make it known to your professors like I'm into conducting, then they will help give you opportunities. I remember my conducting teacher, he let me conduct the full orchestra once after he worked with me in my lessons just to give me 10 minutes of podium time. If he was willing, because he saw that I really wanted to do conducting, I'm going to help, I'm going to try to give you as much time as you possibly can. And if you're into conducting, try to get into a summer workshop. I got into the International Conducting Workshop and Festival in Bulgaria, and that was the best experience of my entire life as far as conducting. And that's actually how I ended up here, because Professor Schleicher, when he was here, he teaches that with Larry Wycliffe. And so that's where I met him. that's where I found out that he taught here, and I wanted to come here. So, there's a lot of international programs that would take young aspiring conductors. There's a lot of domestic programs that would take young aspired conductors as well. So really just search for those. You have to really search for those opportunities because they're sparse in undergrad. Do you have a question?
It was related to that, but I'm kind of piggyback off of that. So what made you choose like to work with French? Like, what were you looking for in your master's program or your teacher that you'd be looking for?
Well, I saw that he's like a phenomenal conductor, and I think any conductor in America would admit that he's the best pedagogue at conducting. And so I saw that he was also a great teacher, and that really drew me. And yeah, I guess he took an interest in me, and had a couple conversations, and I really liked him, and he seemed to like me. And so we just kind of, I was like, yeah, I really want to learn conducting from him. And then I stayed in touch with him after, which is important. Like, after you meet someone, if you want to let them know that you're really interested, maintain contact with them somehow.
So did you go straight from student teaching to teaching, or did you go to grad school?
I went from straight after undergrad to grad school.
Okay.
So I did student teaching my final year, and then I came here. Do you have to have a master's to teach in Illinois?
Yeah.
Okay. In New York, you do. So that's
Oh, wow.
different. Yeah. So most people do go right into teaching in New York, but they're required to have a master's done within 3 years. So they have to do their master's as they teach. But most of the schools will like pay for it because they know it's a New York State requirement. But yeah, if you don't have to get a master's and you feel like your education is solid, go right into teaching. I would suggest if you do go right into teaching, find some online program because they're so accessible now, especially after COVID. Like everyone's situated to that. Get some sort of master's because it's really just going to expand everything. Like I've learned so much conducting technique and rehearsal technique from just these past 4 semesters here, and I feel like a 20 times better conducting teacher than I did when I graduated college. So graduate school is worth it. Like it really is.
And you get a pay bump.
If you'd like to share, or you know, like what is your dream after your master's?
I'd like to get my doctorate so I could teach. I think I want to eventually teach at a university. If it was like an ideal world, I'd get like a nice gig with an actual orchestra. But I don't know, the more I've taught here, especially with the Philharmonic Orchestra, like I just sort of realized how much I really love teaching at the collegiate level, and I could totally see myself just doing that for the rest of my life.
The more you talk, the more I realize that you and I have similar experiences and similar visions. Like, we're both undergraduate music ed, and I have my eyes on almost exactly what you've been doing, what you are wanting to do.
Yeah.
So,
Just,
yeah, I think I have your kindred spirits.
Oh, here's another thing. If you think that you want to teach like elementary or middle school specifically or high school, that will like 80% will likely change during student teaching. And most people like say, I really thought I wanted to do high school. I actually love elementary school and I didn't even know that. And so in student teaching, keep your options open and keep an open mind.
How proficient would you say you are with wind instrument and percussion pedagogy?
Well, I had to take, I'm sure we've all taken methods courses, yeah. So I had to take the same methods courses in undergrad. And I was lucky because my secondary instrument is trombone because my school didn't have an orchestra, I had a band. So I took private violin lessons and I was in their band. So I know like a solid amount. I definitely think that when like make sure you've kept all your notes from your methods classes. And then the summer before your student teaching, read through all of that and study the crap out of it, because your teacher might say, hey, can you teach this whole lesson? And it's just like, I don't know what to do because I don't remember. So make sure that you're super prepared to know those instruments. Like something really easy to do over the summer is just go through scales on each instrument. Like choose an instrument a day and just for 10 minutes, go through fingerings and just make sure that you know it. And it's just 10 minutes a day and you'll be so prepared for just that. And a lot of the times when you're in front of a band or an orchestra, all students will need to know is like, hey, what's the fingering? And if you can just say it like that, they'll be like, oh, they know their stuff. And so,
So like when you're talking about practicing on all these different instruments, did you just like buy them off eBay like super cheap or?
okay. So like if it's like clarinet, get like a wooden stick and just practice the fingering. Because I don't know what none of we're college students, you don't have money for that. I mean, I also had, you know, some friends in undergrad, and they had instruments like that. So if you get together over the summer and like practice on each other's instruments and stuff, that could also be useful. Some of my friends were able to lend me some stuff, and I could help. I let them like play my violin, and they would be playing like their flute or something. So yeah.
So you're finishing up your last semester of masters, right?
Yeah.
So what kinds of things are you working on? What are you conducting right now? What are you finishing up for the next?
Well, we're doing Star Wars. Philharmonia is a great effort. We're doing Finlandia at Sibelius, and I got Brendan Parker to get a choir ready for me. So we're going to do choir and orchestra. So that's going to be super fun. We're doing Beethoven Egmont Overture in UISO right now. I just finished Appalachian Sermon. Yeah. Oh, thank you. That was so hard. God. Yeah, and then in seminar, we're working on Magic Flute right now, and we're probably going to do 4 to 8 after that. So all that stuff, and then different workshops in the summer have repertoire lists out already. So I want to start finding those scores and looking at them.
So why did you return to handball?
So I started violin at Curie.
Okay.
So in reality, I started in the string world, and then I was like, well, I guess I should settle in high school or in school to be there for extra. Not saying there was settlement, but like I enjoy band. Band music is good. I just like the orchestra repertoire better. But,
Did you start on Suzuki methodology?
what?
Did you do Suzuki?
Yeah, Suzuki. So I feel like book 7. I don't know, Hindemith is great, and like Paul E flat suite is good, and Lincoln Sharpoli is good. But yeah, just orchestra records also really good.
I have a question for you about orchestra teaching, actually.
Okay.
So how do you reconcile with, say you have a class of 6th grade strings, and you have some kids who are starting, some kids who are doing some kids in 3rd grade. How do you keep everyone engaged in that scenario?
Okay. So, a lot of really good technique, if they're like just starting, is a lot of like rote to note. So like keep them engaged, like have them give them music in their ear. And this actually helps with intonation. I did this in elementary school with a 4th grade class. It was all, I think, violas. But if you make them like sing the notes and then like listen to each other, when they play it on the instrument, it'll like magically become in tune. And if you do that for any teacher, it'll like blow their mind. And so like teach them, like have certain kids on the roots, the 3rd, the 5th. Because if they can hear it, if they know what it sounds like, then when you're playing it on their instrument, they'll just naturally adjust, because then they know what it sounds like. If you're just saying like you're flat, you're sharp, they're not going to know how flat or how sharp. And they don't have any reference of what is correct. And they'll just like keep guessing until you kind of give up and like close enough. So have students sing as much as they can and to get them to really hear it first and get in their head. I then it'll kind of just work from there. They'll just be able to do it. As far as keeping their attention, I mean, you just have to be animated. And there are like, it's so hard because there are days where I just got in, it's like 5 hours of sleep or 4 hours of sleep, and I just want to like be in bed and not up at 6 in the morning. But like, if you have students, you have to be like the most enthused person in the room. Because if you're tired, they're going to be tired. They're not going to want to do anything if you don't want to do anything. So part of teaching is acting, and just stop at Starbucks on the way.
What's one or three things, I guess, if you're a band person teaching high school orchestra? Because there's a lot of jobs out there where you have to do both. What are like the top 3 things you think as a band person, like they should do when they're working with high school orchestra students?
First of all, learn your string instruments, because that's like foreign land. You can do conduct sort of differently, because everyone knows in band, everyone's like blowing through an instrument or something, so you need like those perfect eye for those good effective day. But with strings, you can be a little bit more fluent with your motion when you're working with them. You'll get a really good sound if you think like, this doesn't work for everything, but like vertical for winds and brass, horizontal for strings, that really get a nice sound. Yeah, just really know your string instruments, because if you are going to teach orchestra, you need to know how to help them. So find someone in the music department that plays a string instrument and ask them if they could like teach you some stuff. You just meet up with them and like take notes. Like that's so valuable. And keep that notebook so that you have it in a handy place if that ever comes about. But also ask them about tuning, because tuning string instruments is very different than tuning your winds or brass. Ask them about your pair, because most likely you'll have kids who like break their strings, or like their bow gear like flies everywhere, or something like that. So find someone in the music department, ask them about instrument upkeep, repairs, how to tune, and then simple stuff for like just like how the fingers work, how the bow works. To just get a good knowledge. And I mean, this is the place to do it because we're surrounded by people who are majoring with string instruments or even the string faculty. So this is a good place to really just try to get as many meetings with people and just talk with them and get information.
Are you a proponent from tape or pencil on fingerboard or is it?
Yeah, tape is good. You can get it on. You can just get it on Amazon. Yeah, you can do that. Just make sure like the thing is they can't be reliant on it, and so by the time of like at least middle school, that should be off. And arguably, if you teach them how to hear the music in their head first, you might not need tape to begin with. But for students who have like small hands, it might not be an intonation problem. It might just be like they can't reach that high with their instrument. And so another thing is, if you have like a small student who really wants to play bass, you have to find a very creative way to encourage them to play like the viola or the violin. And like you're doing them a service. And I had a student when I was student teaching, and their hand just would not have worked with a bass or a cello. And they really wanted to play cello. And so I had to really sell them, like, hey, the violin viola is super cool. And like I played it for them. And they're like, yeah, that is cool, I want to play that. So sometimes you do have to see what, how a person's hand size, because that is important sometimes. It's not always impossible, but if their hand is too small and they're playing the cello, and if they're not going to be able to play what you want them to, they're just going to get frustrated. They'll probably end up quitting orchestra. And so you're kind of doing it for their own good, and you just want them to have the best time that they can. So you want to find them the instrument that will fit them the best. So if they're like super like stuff out that they really want the cello, just let them do the cello. And sometimes maybe after like a couple of days, you'll be like, actually, I don't really want to do the cello. Like, there we go. Now let's do this instead. So sometimes that'll work.
Cool. Well, we're at a little past time. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Few quick things for you all before we go. Saturday, Dr. Mister is gearing up for talking for 2.5 hours, I think. At 5 in Smith Memorial Room.
Yes, there will be pizza, by the way. I think I'm just gonna get like some cheese and some pepperoni. Does anybody want anything more than that? No, good.
Some chocolate balloons.
If you did not make it to our instrument repair workshop last night, you can grab some materials up on that stand over there. They're great. We'll also get them scanned in online. And the last thing is our election form is out to nominate. So if you didn't see that, immediately in the group me.
And it's just nominations. We'll send it to mine too.
Yeah.
It's just nominations, it's not elections. If you can't vote for somebody who, or you can't nominate somebody who's student teaching next year because we won't be here to serve. So make sure you're only nominating juniors, or sorry, freshmen, sophomores, or juniors who are staying an extra semester or extra year.
Thank you. If you borrowed an instrument from somebody, you just spray it, put it back in the case, and put it back in the corner. Have a good evening.
Hey, let's go to station. Is it on like a dining? I was like, it hasn't been open for dining since COVID.